All right. Can I please get a little bit of background from where you're from, which ethnic group you're a part of, and what you do now professionally?
Okay. I am Anas Al Haji. I'm Syrian American. I was born in northern Syria, but I grew up in the mountains near Damascus on the Lebanese border, one of the coldest areas in Syria. The area is just like Colorado without the trees. So a lot of snow, a lot of cold. And I'm going to mention this because later on when we talk about the refugees, basically just to show you
Okay.
that the country is extremely cold and snow most of the time, so the winter is very tough for them. I work right now as a chief economist for a private equity firm in Dallas that focuses on the oil and gas business.
All right. How do you stand in regards to U.S.'s involvement in Syria and why?
Generally speaking, the revolutionaries in Syria, when the revolution started, it was a very peaceful revolution. For almost a year, it was very peaceful. And people being killed in the street every single day by government forces. They've been shot at, they've been bombed, and they did not resort to any sort of armed opposition. All they wanted at that time basically is for the United States and Europe is to side with them as people who are looking for freedom and democracy. And unfortunately that dragged on for a long time without any stand on the US or Europe basically to help those people. When they found that no one can help them at all, they resorted to basically carrying arms, and they started defending themselves, their homes, their children, their families, etc. They never ever asked the United States for a military intervention. All they wanted basically were some basic requests. For example, for the Obama administration to declare that Bashar al-Assad, who is the president or the dictator of Syria basically, is to be a war criminal, for example. They asked, for example, they asked them to do something in the international organizations such as the Security Council, the United Nations, etc., to get some support. They did not see that. It took a very long time for the Obama administration to say something, but nothing happened at all. So even people on the ground did not ask for the US intervention. They just asked for kind of general support. They did not ask for troops on the ground. They did not even ask for money.
All right.
They just asked for certain things for the United States to do, such as declaring Assad a war criminal. They asked for strict sanctions on the regime, especially when it comes to travel and other things, etc. But they did not ask for troops on the ground. When the situation escalated, and I'm talking about 2 years later, and over 100,000 lives lost, innocent lives were lost, they asked for some support. They did not ask for boots on the ground. They did not ask for the US military to be on the ground. They asked for support, such as advanced weaponry, some weapons to fight the planes, because they were able to clear the ground and control the ground. They were not able to control the sky. So they wanted some rockets, rocket launchers, etc., and they were not able to get that help. But they never, you're not going to find any group in Syria that asked for troops, US troops on the ground, period.
How do you think the UN should intervene?
Well, generally speaking, the Syrian people were puzzled by the UN stance, because the UN kept looking for evidence. They continued sending envoy after envoy while people were being killed every single day. All they wanted basically is to stop the madness and to stop the killing, to stop the killing of children, the rape of women. There are over 5 million refugees right now outside Syria. Most of the Syrian population right now is dislocated, and it's somewhere in a tent or somewhere in another town. They just wanted to stop that, but unfortunately Russia and China continued playing their games, and they were not able to do anything in the Security Council. and the U.S. seemed like completely paralyzed when it comes to Syria. So the Syrian people basically do not trust the UN anymore. They are not asking the UN to do anything anymore. They just give up on the UN period.
Okay. Would you classify right now what's happening in Syria